Our world is constantly changing, but most of these changes are difficult to notice because they occur over millions of years. However, recent geological developments on the African continent have made these changes more visible. In particular, scientists are closely monitoring the formation of a massive rift in East Africa that is slowly splitting the continent in two. This event could signal the early stages of the birth of a new ocean. In this video, we will take an in-depth look at the scientific data to understand the causes of this massive geological shift, how it happened, and what impact it will have on Africa in the future. If you're curious about the movement of continents and the future shape of the Earth, this video is for you. Let's explore together this major geological transformation unfolding in Eastern Africa. The Earth's crust is made up of large plates that move through plate tectonics. These plates are constantly being displaced by fluid movements in the mantle. The African continent is also influenced by these tectonic processes. In particular, the East African Rift Valley is formed by the divergence of the Somali and Nubian plates. The East African Rift System is one of the largest active tectonic movements in the world. It began around 35 million years ago and continues to this day. Frequent earthquakes and active volcanic activity in this region show that it is still highly geologically dynamic. Recently, in 2005, a major rift formed in the Afar region of Ethiopia, revealing how the rift system is advancing. With a width of up to 8 meters, this rift was considered one of the most tangible indicators of continental breakup. In 2010, a massive earthquake felt in Somalia and Kenya showed that the continental divide was active and that plate movements could cause large-scale seismic events. Then in 2011, the eruption of the Nabro volcano in Eritrea provided further evidence of geological activity in the region. The eruption was a direct result of crustal tensions along the East African Rift Valley. Similarly, the eruption of the Nyiragongo volcano in Congo in 2021 demonstrated how magma movements are linked to plate separations. Such events serve as clues that the continental crust is slowly beginning to transform into oceanic crust. While it may not happen immediately, these geological movements could, over the long term, separate the eastern part of the African continent, initiating the formation of new oceanic crust. The formation of a new ocean begins with the gradual thinning of continental crust into oceanic crust. This process occurs when plate movements stretch a specific area of the continent. The large crack in the Afar region of Ethiopia, which we mentioned earlier, is a visible example of this process. After the formation of this crack, scientists stated that it marked the beginning of oceanic crust formation. This is similar to what happened 80 million years ago when the continents of South America and Africa began to separate, forming a rift system that eventually expanded into what is now the Atlantic Ocean. Today, a similar process is happening in the East African Rift Valley. The presence of active volcanoes along the Rift Valley indicates that magma occasionally rises to the surface. Another example of oceanic crust formation is the 2018 eruption of the Kilauea volcano in Hawaii. This event resulted in the creation of large cracks, with magma rising to the surface and forming new land masses. Given similar processes in the past, it seems inevitable that a new ocean basin will form in eastern Africa within a few million years. As long as this activity continues, the eastern part of Africa will eventually separate from the main continent, and the widening valleys will gradually fill with water, creating a new ocean. Satellite images and GPS measurements show that the East African Rift Valley is expanding by several millimeters every year. These measurements are used by scientists to closely track the continent's breakup process. In the Afar region of Ethiopia, measurements show a significant thinning of the Earth's crust and increased magma uplift. In 2018, a large rift in Kenya provided tangible evidence that the Rift Valley is actively expanding. The rift, about 15 meters deep and several kilometers long, demonstrated the impact of plate movements. Large earthquakes in the East African Rift Valley also indicate that the process is accelerating. For example, the magnitude 6.0 earthquake in Ethiopia in 2006 demonstrated that the rift system is actively moving. In 2019, a magnitude 5.0 earthquake in the Manyara region of Tanzania revealed that tensions in the region were increasing. Scientists believe that such earthquakes could lead to larger-scale plate movements in the coming years. The increase in volcanic activity along the Rift Valley also suggests that the process is ongoing. For instance, the eruption of the Nyiragongo volcano in Congo in 2021 showed how tensions in the Earth's crust can suddenly result in volcanic activity. Scientists predict that a new ocean will form in a few million years if the movements in Eastern Africa continue. Given that similar processes have occurred in the past, the formation of a new ocean basin in Eastern Africa seems inevitable. The African continent is slowly changing due to tectonic movements, and scientists predict that in the future, this process will completely separate the eastern part of the continent from the rest of Africa, creating a new ocean. However, this transformation will occur on a timescale far beyond human lifetimes. We are talking about a process that will take millions of years. While we won't live to see this transformation in its complete form, scientists are already tracking the process and working to understand what may happen in the future. These geological movements will affect not only Africa, but also the climate, ecosystems, and ocean currents around the world. For example, the formation of a new ocean could alter global trade routes and create significant economic opportunities for the East African coast. And perhaps much more. Throughout this video, we've explored how Africa will be transformed in the future and the stages this process is going through today. It's fascinating to see how science helps us understand the major changes occurring in nature. Turn on notifications to stay updated with new developments, explore the ever-changing nature of our world, and more.